Hi everybody, welcome to another Chats with Children. I hope you're safe and well. Today I'm delighted to be joined by my good friend from Cambridge Healthtech Institute, Christina Lingham, who is the Executive Director for Conferences and a Fellow at CHI. And she's going to be talking about and previewing next week's PEGS, because PEGS 23 is fast approaching in Boston. It starts on Monday the 15th of May and runs all the way through to the end of the week, which is May the 19th. And so I thought we'll catch up with Christina, get a preview of the event for next week and see what you can expect if you're attending there. So Christina, first of all, good afternoon or good morning. I can't remember what time it is in the States now, but I hope you're well.
Good morning. That's great to talk with you, Rizwan. I love chatting with you.
Well, it's lovely to see you again. How have you been?
Really well, thank you. Gearing up for next week.
Fantastic. Right. So my first question for you is that for viewers who are not familiar with PEGS as a brand and as an event, can you give us a very quick overview and background of PEGS, why it was launched, what does it cover, and also who is the target audience in terms of delegates for the event?
Sure. I've been working on PEGS since the beginning. It started when I launched a phage display track in 1999. And so this conference has been running a long time. It became PEGS, the PEGS Summit, 19 years ago. And so next year we'll have our big 20th anniversary celebration. This is the last year we're at the Heinz, and we're moving to the Omni Seaport next year, which will be a fabulous venue. But yeah, we launched at the phage display meeting, which I didn't fully appreciate the amount of interest in this area. Really got off with a bang in 1999. And then we added a recombinant antibodies track, and we've been adding topics to it as we go along, and it became the PEGS Summit now. Pretty all-encompassing for protein engineering, heavy on the discovery and technology side of things, but also trying to cover preclinical and clinical topics as well. And we this year really excited to introduce a few plenary keynote speakers whom you maybe have not heard before personally. We're excited to have Dr. Carl June, who's professor of immunotherapy at the University of Pennsylvania, as a kickoff plenary speaker this year. He'll be talking about advances in CAR T therapy and how the emerging discipline of synthetic biology combined with tools of molecular biology and genome engineering are creating new forms of engineered cells with enhanced functionality. So that's very exciting.
Fantastic.
In addition, we have John Marioni, who's Senior Vice President, Head of Computation at Genentech. He's been described as a purple unicorn, a term used to describe someone's skills and experiences so rare they're almost mythical. And he's talking about lab in a loop. So that's going to be very interesting plenary keynote as well. And we have Rebecca Sendak, who's head of global large molecules research at Sanofi. And she's talking about innovative biologics modalities. But going back to your question, it's really now covering a lot more machine learning at PEGS Boston and cell therapy, genome editing. It's moving downstream from early stage protein engineering tools into the field of more into computational biology, synthetic biology. So we're very excited about all the options that this conference presents. We have a new spin on a track this year with next generation immunotherapies, which is focusing on in vivo cell engineering and delivery, also very promising and exciting. And we have a new track on mRNA therapies, which is a brand new modality and represents some really interesting crossover with other areas of protein engineering. And when you said, why should someone attend PEGS? Because all of your colleagues will be there. One thing we learned from the pandemic, people are really hungry for networking, especially young scientists entering the field, really depend on networking and face-to-face meeting people and establishing their career and setting up collaborations and getting inspiration. This really happens in person better than any other form. And this year, to facilitate that, we've added speed networking. We've added networking specifically for women in science, and that will be moderated. And we have young scientists networking. So those are fantastic opportunities. So that's really a taste of things to come next week in Boston. You know, as I said last time at the Heinz, and was very well received last year. Last year was the first time we've been back in person after 3 years. And really, people were so happy to be back in person and face-to-face. So this year, our exhibit hall is bigger than ever, and we have more posters than we've ever had. And those posters, of course, feature new science happening in protein engineering. So this field is so important. We're really flattered that people consider this meeting really one of the most important conferences of the year. And if I didn't say so already,
Christina, I'm laughing because you haven't even taken them.
What's that?
I didn't even get a chance to ask you any of the questions, but you preempted everything in one go. Look, right, let me give you a chance to take a breath though before you do that. So I'm just going to ask you one question though. So in terms of delegate numbers for people who haven't been there before, how many? I mean, I know it's difficult because the pandemic had an impact on numbers as well. But last year, for example, at PEGS Boston, how many people did you have attending the event?
So last year we probably had 2,400 attendees, and this year it's closer to 2,500 attendees.
Right.
So it is growing. I think what we've seen overall is that the appetite for conferences after the pandemic really grew, because it's very hard to replicate that kind of environment online.
Right. And one thing I want to ask you is that obviously protein engineering as a topic has become obviously far more popular, and there are a lot of other events now out there which are also covering protein engineering as part of their subject line or whatever, or tracks, etc. So you mentioned obviously why people should come to PEGS, but what makes PEGS different then to those many other events which are out there now offering protein engineering tracks?
I think it's more comprehensive than those other events. It's really hard to compare a meeting that smaller with a larger one. I know people that schedule offsite meetings because it's in Boston. Of course, it's a beautiful time of year too, but it's centrally located to a lot of the medical facilities or biotech companies that are in the Boston area. So it's just really well positioned. Some of the other competing meetings, they're smaller. I think for PEGS, people think of it as a one-stop shop, get to see people that they need to see, set up meetings that they want to make happen, as satellite meetings from the main event. It's just convenient for people, put it on their calendars early as a must attend.
Right. And one other question I was going to ask you is that obviously, because of the pandemic, you went all virtual, then you went more of a hybrid model. So going forward now, how much of the event is available virtually? Is it available virtually concurrently with the in-person event, or are you, as some event organizers doing now, making it available on demand only and you have to register up front? So how's it working now from a virtual aspect?
That's a great question. You're really an expert in this area to know what questions to hone on. But I would say CHI gets very high marks in this category. So we have made a commitment to be both streaming live virtually and have it on demand. So most of our audience will be there in person, say 96%.
Sure.
But for those that can attend in person, they can go to the virtual platform. They can stream any and all of the talks. And even if you are there in person, you had to commit, of course, we encourage people to track up. You had to commit to listen to one talk at a time, but you can go back on the virtual platform at any time up to a year and check out those other presentations that you missed. And so really, it's all of the above. It's in person, it's virtual live streaming, and it's also on demand up to a year. And it's really fantastic for people that can't go to the meeting. But as I said, one thing we've learned is that people don't consider the virtual experience, 100% or equivalent to in person. So the vast majority of people will be there in person next week.
Yeah, cool. I mean, you can't replace in person. I agree with you. Fantastic. Now, finally, is there anything else you'd like to add for viewers watching right now about PEGS? If they're undecided or you think, well, actually, I'm really not sure if I should book my ticket to go to Boston next week.
Well, at the very least, there's an exhibit hall pass. If you want to check out the conference, you can sign up for an exhibit hall pass online. I think it's definitely worth investing a week to attend. We have great attendance throughout the whole week. In fact, the majority of people sign up for the whole PEG Summit, not just 1 or 2 units. They go for all 3, and they're all in on all of it. The talks, the networking, the receptions, the breakout discussions. It's all going to be very lively and energetic. The biggest question is how do you pace yourself so you can make it through 5 days? But I think that a great way to get a taste of it is get the exhibit hall pass, and that's less of a commitment. It's great. Over 1,000 of our attendees come from the Metro West Boston area, including myself. So there's a huge local audience for this. It's really hard to replace Boston in that regard.
Brilliant. Well, look, Christina, hopefully I'll see you next week, all being well. But regardless, I wish you a fantastic event next week. I hope it goes really, really well for you. And I hope you aren't too tired by the end of it. So there you go, viewers. If you'd like to know more about PEGS Boston and next week's event, and if you haven't signed up yet, check out the link above the video. You'll be able to find out more about the agenda, who the speakers are, and obviously register if you haven't registered yet. So, Christina, once again, it's lovely to see you again. Hopefully I can catch up with you in person next week, and happy build up to the event.
See you next week. Thank you so much. And just a reminder to your listeners, if you're posting, if I've convinced you to check out the PEG Summit, please let us know your thoughts on LinkedIn and use the hashtag PEGS23.
There you go. You've heard it from Christina, hashtag PEGS23. So, Christina, once again, thank you very much, viewers. Thank you for watching. Until next time, as always, stay well and stay safe.
We hope to see you next week.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
You too.